you guys, it's me Gemstone. I hope you're all doing really well. This video is basically one I have decided to make about a discussion that's been going on in quite a few tarot circles, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook, in some of the Facebook groups and things that I'm on, like little discussions that's been taking place about Doreen Virtue. I took part, I would say, in one of the discussions that it was a discussion that was brought up like a month ago, basically about how people felt about Doreen Virtue in general, and then people were talking about, you know, her new, I don't want to say newfound Christianity, because to me, Doreen Virtue has always been a Christian. I've always thought that she was a Christian because of the kind of decks that she makes, and because she's always talked about Jesus. Like, to me, like, that wasn't new. I think for her, she's just decided to become more, I would say, maybe more serious about her Christian beliefs, and I think that's what's kind of taken a change, or she's become a more devout Christian. I think that's the best way to say that, or describe the path that she's decided to take. Me personally, I did not feel betrayed or upset or saddened when she came out and said this. I kind of feel that personally, on a spiritual level, spirit guides people in all different ways, and so and I think spirit has a way of at times leading you towards a different group of people and a different place, and sometimes you just have to go with it. You just have to go with where you feel guided to go. And it's interesting because I feel like my experience of my spiritual journey has been almost like the opposite of Doreen Virtue's experience. Not to say that it might not change down the line or anything like that. Again, I go where spirit guides me. But I would say that for me, it led me more away from Christianity than to Christianity. But again, I don't judge other people's spiritual experience. I feel like it's something that we all have to do, and it's very personal. So, what I would like to say about some of the comments she made in some of her recent videos. If you haven't seen any of her videos that she's made since she's come out, basically, like, they seem very fundamental Christian, you know. That's the kind of feeling I'm getting from her more recent videos. And the only thing that concerns me about that kind of thing is, at one stage in my life, I was very much like that, like a fundamental Christian. I was very, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. I was like super Christian. You know, super Christian. I was celibate. I would feel very guilty if I did anything wrong. Oh my gosh, this person is getting on my nerves. This person's phone keeps on calling me, and I don't think they even realize that their phone is doing it. And every time I say hello, they're not saying anything. This happened like the third time. Oh, I'm gonna put the volume off. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. Okay, put this volume off, driving me nuts. Okay, I don't even know if the volume is off. I got a different phone, so, oh jeez. Okay, alright, okay. So, yeah, so what I kind of am concerned about, I would say, with sort of this kind of message she's really pushing, is the fact that it can become very judgmental of people of different faiths. And I think what she has to kind of bear in mind is that just because you've had this enlightenment experience, it doesn't mean everyone around you has. And so it's like you can't then push what you feel is the truth for you onto everyone else just because you have a platform to do so. I kind of feel like, and that to me is the difficult thing about when you decide on a journey that leads you more steeped into religion, is not coming from a space of separatism or superiority, but coming from a place of love, unity, and peace. I think a lot of people that are Christian say that they worship Jesus, but very few Christians are actually Christ-like. And I think really that is what Christians should be striving for, is to be Christ-like, not just to be good Christians or good in terms of what you feel your religion expects of you, or what your church minister or the church in general expects of you. And so to me, being Christ-like is about being tolerant, being loving, being caring towards people of all different faiths, and not using your, like I said, experience of enlightenment as a reason to therefore say this is wrong and that is wrong. Like I found a lot of her newer videos are basically criticizing the new age, and I feel like it is kind of unfair to do that, because of the fact of, regardless of what she feels now, that was her experience too, and that was her walk as well at one point. And so to me, you have to learn to honor the path that has led you to where you are. And that was even a hard lesson for me, because when I stopped going to church, I basically stopped going to church because I felt like I wasn't getting the spiritual food that I needed. Like, I felt starved of something in the church. There was a piece of me that was missing, and I thought that the church was going to fill it, and it just never did. So that is when I decided to leave, and something told me just within myself, you have to soul search, you have to go and find what this piece that is missing is, so that you can feel whole. And so that's what I needed to do. And it led me on a journey that I'm so thankful for and so grateful for, because of the fact that I can say now I feel so much better within myself. That piece that was missing is no longer missing, because I needed to learn more about myself and go on my own personal journey. And that journey took me to meet interesting people and come across so much information and all this other stuff that not only helped me on a spiritual level, but it helped me in terms of my own self-development and improvement just as a person in general. And so what I would say is that the answer is not to be judgmental, or it's not to be angry and frustrated because of the path that you came from. It's so easy to do that. Like, it's so easy to leave the church and then bash Christians and Christianity and all that kind of stuff, especially when you start to learn maybe some things about the religion that is questionable. It's easy to judge others and say, why do you believe in that? Like, don't you know this? Don't you know that? To sway people away. But that's not the job of a person that, to me, has left the church, is supposed to do. What you're supposed to do is to, again, soul search, go on your own journey, and then make peace with the path that led you to who you are and where you are. That took me a very, very, very long time to do. Funnily enough, the eclipse that took place recently, the lunar eclipse, opened up my eyes in a way that was so profound. Like, that eclipse was just something out of this world. Like, so many people had so many very interesting, like, spiritual downloads and all that kind of stuff. If you experienced a spiritual download, please let me know what it was, because a lot of people was saying or witnessing a lot of kind of spiritual activity around the time of the lunar eclipse. I think the solar eclipse had a powerfulness to it, but not as much as the lunar one did. So basically what happened at that time for me was I was meditating, and a different deity came through in the meditation. This is a deity I've never worked with before, but she's a goddess deity, a feminine deity, and it wasn't surprising to me that she did come through, because of the fact that at that time, and even now, I am just working with a lot of goddess energy, like tons of goddess energy. And so it just felt like, that whole thing of, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And it's like, for me, it's like she appeared around the time when it was so important for her to appear. And so what was so interesting about this experience was that she actually helped me, and this is a Hindu deity, she helped me to come to terms with my issues with Jesus. And that was shocking. That was surprising. Basically, what she came through and told me in this meditation was that all is one. So therefore, you have to embrace, accept, and love the path that you went through, and that was with Jesus in your life. So you have to always have a place or an acceptance for him and that experience and what it led you through, what it led you to become, and everything else. And that message for me, when I really sat down afterwards and was really mulling it over, it made so much sense. Because basically, it's not about separatism. And I've always had a problem with that. Even at the time when I was very devout, going to church, doing all those kind of things, I always had an issue when even Christians would say negative things about people of other religions. I remembered one experience I had where a minister that I really looked up to in the church made this sermon talking about how he felt more sympathy for a Christian boy that was horribly attacked than he felt for some people in 9/11, because of the fact that some of the people that died in 9/11 were not Christian. And when he said that, my face literally broke. Like, my mouth literally was agape. Like, did he really say that? Like, to me, that was such an awful thing to say. Because regardless of a person's religious beliefs, everyone went through that tragedy. Like, that was something that was so heinous that took place, that hurt so many people. Even people that weren't in that building were hurt and destroyed by what happened. And it's like, to say that you felt more sympathy for one person in an incident that, again, was a horrible incident as well, but to say you felt more sympathy because they were a Christian than somebody else that went through a disaster, but just because they're not Christian, you don't feel the same type of way about it. It's like, to me, it's about humanity more than it's about religion. That's what it should come down to for me. And so my issue with even what Doreen Virtue had to say, or has been saying in some of her videos, my issue is not that she's a Christian at all, or that she's decided to be a more devout Christian. Because again, I know what that experience is like. But my issue is more with, please don't let it turn into a situation where you are judging or condemning other people after you went through the same experience that they're going through. You went through the same spiritual journey or similar than they're going through. Don't make it seem like because you've changed that all of a sudden all of this other stuff is wrong and incorrect and people shouldn't be living their life that way and all that kind of stuff. It's like, be more open-minded, be more receptive, be more understanding than that. That's the only thing I feel that is an issue that I have with the current attitude she seems to be giving off in general. Another thing I was also thinking about is a lot of people are very hurt by it. A lot of people have said, you know, what should they do with these decks that they've bought that are hers? You know, what should they do in terms of the certifications that they have that are, you know, from her courses and stuff like that. For me, I'm not going to get rid of any of my Doreen Virtue decks, because the ones that I own, I actually pretty much do like and I do use. I think if I was to give up any of them, it could potentially be 2 of them, but that's not because of her. That would just be because those are decks that I don't really use that much, and to be honest, I don't 100% connect with that well. But for me, it's like, you know, life goes on in that respect. Like, I wouldn't change anything or like I said, like, give away my decks because of her own beliefs, because apparently now she also doesn't agree with tarot either, and doesn't agree with mediumship, and she's denounced those things, and some of her other decks as well, like apparently her mermaid deck and fairy deck she's also denounced too, and the Ascended Masters deck and a book that she made about the Ascended Masters as well. It's interesting. I think for those that have invested in her, I can definitely understand why they're hurt and upset and angry. I would, if I had invested that much into a teacher, I would definitely be hurt and angry. But again, it's like, I think for me, even though I like some of her decks and stuff, I'm just not that invested in Doreen Virtue to get all that angry or bent out of shape about it. But I'm just saying that I can understand the experience that she is going through. And I think that we should all just accept that she's on her journey, like all of us are on ours. And again, it's going to lead you to different places and different people and different things. And so I think her soul has to go through this process of Christianity. And where it leads her, no one knows. I don't think she herself even knows. But she has to see for herself, you know, where it all ends up for her. And I encourage her in that. And I do commend her. I think it does take a lot of bravery to come out and say, do you know what, I was preaching this message and I don't think I was right. And I don't agree with some of the materials that I produced. And she had to have known that she was going to receive a huge amount of backlash. And yet she still stood up and she stands for what she believes in. And to be honest, for that, on that alone, she does get a lot of respect from me. Because I think it is important to honor your beliefs and to not be fake because of profits or because of not wanting to upset people or because of your stature as a spiritual teacher. I think she's doing the right thing in being honest and authentic about the changes that she's experienced in her life. So I would say good luck to her. Good luck to her, you know, and I wish her the best. So peace and many blessings to you guys, and please let me know what you think about the whole Doreen Virtue thing and about her being Christian and denouncing all these decks and also being against tarot now and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know I love tarot so much, and you know, I have had Christians judge me about, you know, reading tarot, saying it's devil worship and all this other stuff. But for me, again, I don't really discuss it that much with people that are Christians. I don't discuss my beliefs so much because I don't need anyone to validate what I believe in. And again, I just think that people have to follow their own course and end up where they end up. So yeah, do let me know what you think. I'll see you guys. Bye.